Hello, my name is Shawnee Merrill, and this video is for the philosophy class through CEI. It is 103-02. This is for the video upload assignment, so we're just gonna jump right in. The first question that was asked is, which ethical theory makes the most sense to you personally and why? So, for me personally, care ethics makes the most sense because it centers morality around the specific context of relationships and interdependence. I find that my most significant decisions, moral decisions, are often rooted in my duties and responsibilities to the people that I care about. So, family, friends, community members. And care ethics validates the idea that partiality is and can be a part of morality. And that it's sometimes necessary and relevant, as opposed to requiring strict impartiality. In my opinion, asking a human being to be impartial, while not entirely impossible, is very difficult, and in some situations is impossible. So I liked the ability to embrace being partial. Another thing is that it avoids the rigid application of universal laws by acknowledging that the needs, feelings, and concrete situations of those involved should guide ethical decision making. So it's contextual, and I enjoy that as well. Care ethics recognizes the moral significance of emotions like empathy, compassion, and responsiveness. These feelings aren't seen as a hindrance in moral decision making, but as essential and as a resource instead that prompt us to act responsibly toward others. And for me personally, I see this in a shift of how past generations were raised to how I'm raising my children, or society in large has shifted raising children. So another thing to think about. The next question that was asked is, how has my understanding of right or wrong changed throughout this course? So my understanding of that has definitely changed throughout this course. It's really deepened, and I moved beyond something more simple into something multi-layered and nuanced. Initially, I might have defined right as like following rules or laws, and wrong as simply not following them. Now my understanding is quite a bit deeper. I recognize that the right act requires ethical justification that considers consequences, duties, and the impact on relationships and character. So really bringing in the different ethical, moral philosophies that we looked at. And I now see that it's not just what the moral action is, but how it's performed. And also I have a clearer appreciation that many ethical dilemmas are not simple battles between good and evil, but are conflicts between competing goods, which has been something that has really changed my viewpoint on a lot of things. And the last point to this video is to bring in an example of how I see ethical issues more clearly now. And the one that I wanted to talk about is consumerism and the supply chain of just really common products. And one thing that kept coming back to mind with this were the apps like Temu and Shein, where you spend a little and get a lot. Before this course, my view on buying inexpensive things from those apps was really limited to a utilitarian analysis of, it's affordable, it benefits me, this is great. Maybe even a legal analysis as far as like it's legal to sell. And the wrong would be kind of covering illegal things like theft, which isn't truly relevant to these apps, but just, I guess, a point to bring up. After this course and the things that I've learned, specifically with care ethics, I can see the broken relationship that has become and is perpetuated in the care and responsibility between the consumer and the often unseen workers putting these things together in the supply chain. The low price point is often a direct result of neglecting the basic needs of these workers and their rights, and showing a profound failure of care on the part of the corporation and indirectly on the consumer, me and you and whoever else is using these things, which is really unfortunate. I now more clearly recognize as well that the use of exploitative labor practices or unsafe working conditions is a violation of those workers' human rights and dignity, and it's a violation of our moral duty, independent of the consequences. And I question the virtue that promotes the endless cycle of cheap, wasteful, disposable goods. It just encourages greed and thoughtlessness and wastefulness rather than moderation, justice, and compassion. So by really bringing everything in together, those are my viewpoints. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video.